Hey guys, welcome back to the Detailing Space. Today we're going to be taking a look at how many pads you should be using on your car. So this is a quick ad hoc video. If you remember a couple of weeks ago I did a video on my favourite pads, my go-to pads. That was a common question that I got. If you've not seen that, make sure you watch that after this one. But yeah, coming from that, I've had a few questions like how many pads should I be using on my car, and that there's not a lot of information out there. And I think the reason for that is no one really wants to give an exact figure because there are variables depending on the size of the car and what exactly you're doing, how clogged up your pads get and all of that. And you can guarantee if you say you use 3 pads, someone will say, well, you should use 4. And if you use 4, someone will say you should use 6 and so on. So I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of confusion as well as to how many pads. I mean, I've seen people talking about once they've done with a pad, they toss it to one side and they won't use it again until they've cleaned it, until later on. So yeah, I'm here to try and help you out here because I think if you're a professional, you're probably not going to be watching this. So for the home enthusiast, I think the reason you're wanting to know how many pads to use is you want to know how many to buy. These things do get expensive. You know, you're looking at £10 to £15 per pad. I've seen some almost up to £20 on a pad. So you don't want to buy too many and it's costing you £100, £200 just in pads. But also you don't want to buy too few and not have enough to do the work. So really the short answer is there is no right amount of pads. As I say, some people will say I use 8 pads per vehicle. Some will say I use 10. Some will say I swap every panel. But every car is different. So the way I think of it is I typically, on the average hatchback, small SUV, so you're thinking Ford Focus, Nissan Juke, something along those lines, BMW 3 Series maybe, even up to something like a C-Class Mercedes, you can probably get away with doing a pad every second panel. And when I say panel, I'm typically thinking of a door, wings, you know, fenders for you Americans that are a bit smaller, bonnets or hoods, and roofs are much bigger. You might only use 1 pad on a roof, and to be honest, that's probably what I would be looking at. And then for the bonnet, I'd probably use a pad and then do the front wings with it. And then, as I said, the doors, I will do the doors, probably both doors on one side with 1 pad, usually, but not always. Now, what's worth bearing in mind here is, as I say, it's also down to your judgment as well. You need to understand if your pad's not cutting as well as it should. It's probably clogged and ready for a clean. Between sets, I will brush the pad out, so you'll see me flicking the machine polisher upside down and turning it on, and then whilst it's spinning around, usually in rotary mode so it doesn't stall or anything like that, I'll get a brush, bit of pressure, and clean that pad out, get any excess polish, excess dust, anything like that, all out of the pad, and then go again for the next set of the area that I'm going to be working. And as I say, I'll do that a few times, and after a little while it really does need a clean. Now, this is where it can get tricky. So some people will then just say, well, that's it, I can't do anything else with that pad because it needs cleaning. However, and this is not a promotion, by the way, down here what I've got, if I can pick it up, is the Lake Country, System 4000. So what I've been doing, particularly in the spring and summer, when it's obviously don't do polishing in direct sun, but if the sun is out and you're polishing the shade, you can get a stack of these. So as you say, I will use the blue mag fiber the most. I'll probably get 2 or 3. And once I've got 2 or 3 dirty, I'll probably be having a break anyway. I want a coffee, I want a drink. I'll then give these a quick clean with the System 4000, chuck these back in the sun to dry off. I've still got 2 more pads to go at, and then by the time I've done with these should hopefully be dry then. That's the other reason why it's quite difficult to say this is how many pads you need. Are you cleaning as you go in, or are you tossing them all to the side and then cleaning at the end of the day or the end of the week or whenever it is you do your cleaning? But yeah, as a general rule, I'm swapping pads every other panel, usually. So yeah, it is quite hard to say. But the main thing is to keep your pads clean. So you want a brush, and top tip, if you're on a budget, just use a toothbrush, absolutely fine. The bristles are stiff enough that it will pull out any polishing compound, any dust, anything like that. that you want to get out of there. You can also spritz a bit of water over the pad as you try and clean that out as well. That's not going to do any harm. And you can go straight back to using it if you wish. But yeah, I would, if you're looking at buying some pads and you're a home DIYer, I think you want to buy at least 3. I think that's the absolute minimum. And that is simply so you can, with that method as well, you would have to clean as you go as well. So you can use 2 pads, give them a quick clean out, let them dry off while using the 3rd pad. Hopefully by the time you've done with the 3rd, your other 2 are dry or usable anyway. And also, it's worth noting as well why you need to change pads so often. So yeah, I probably should have covered this a bit earlier in the video. So the reason we change pads is clogging issues. So not only is the polishing compound going to be clogged up in there, you also, when you are polishing, you are removing, you know, microscopic, like a micron of lacquer, a couple of microns of lacquer. So that's getting in there as well. So you do need to change them to prevent any clogging. And the more products and lacquer and anything else you've gathered within the pad, whether it's a microfiber or a foam pad, the more it's going to impact its cutting abilities. So that's when you then notice something that, you know, if this pad was fresh and I was able to get rid of all the swirls in 3, maybe 4 passes, but then by the time I've done 2 doors and a bonnet and I'm round to the other side, I'm still using the same pad and it's taking me 6, 7, 8 passes, that's because it's done. You really need to change it. That's why, as I say, you change every couple of pads. The other thing as well is you don't want to get the pads too hot. So that's the other reason why you are swapping the pads. Even if they're not ridiculously dirty between sets, you want to swap them out, let them cool, you know, give them a bit of time to breathe and cool off. You don't want the adhesive that holds the Velcro backing on. You don't want that to start coming loose and then you end up with pad failure halfway through. That can be absolutely awful. If that fails, then you just imagine you've just got the hook part of the backing plate just grinding into the paintwork because your pad's flown off because of Velcro failure. So yeah, that's the other thing. You want to keep temperatures down. That will help you improve with the cutting abilities as well. So yeah, short answer is there is no right or wrong answer. It is down to your judgment, but I would highly recommend a minimum of 3 pads. If you can afford one, I would get the System 4000 pad washer. It does come in very, very handy. We've demonstrated that a few times here on this channel. And if you'd like to see more about this, let me know in the comments below and I can do another video covering that, how to clean your pads, how to maintain your pads as well. So yeah, it's just a quick video to answer that question I've been getting a lot lately. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this and you've found it useful. If you have, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe icon as well. We'll put a link to that just up here for you now. And there is always a couple of videos down below that I think you might enjoy. So hope you've enjoyed this one and we'll see you in the next video.